A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America in Washington. I am Kip Stube in Maryland.
Ndini Tanonoka Wande, tirikutaura kwamuri tichibva kuno kuWashington DC, ndinokutingamidzai muchirongwa cheLiveTalk.
Tonight on LiveTalk, we are talking about COVID-19 figures worldwide and Christmas holidays.
Zvinhu hazvina kumira zvakanaka maererano nechirwere cheCovid-19 pasi pose. Iko zvino muZimbabwe tine vanhu vanopfuura zviuru 12, more than 12,000 vakabatwa nechirwere ichi. Asiwo zvinofadzawo kuti pavanhu vose vavo vanhu vanopfuura chiuru 10 kana kuti more than 10,000 vakarikavha kubva kuchirwere ichi. Pasi pose tiri kutarisa kuti pane vanhu vanopfuura mamiriyoni 80 million vakabatwa nechirwere ichi, asi panongoita miriyoni nechidimbu vakapora, miriyoni nechidimbu 1.7 million vakafa nechirwere ichi pasi pose. Muno muAmerica mune njodzi huru nekuti chirwere ichi chikuramba chichipararira zvine simba. Kune vanhu vanosvika 19 million vakabatwa nechirwere izvozvi, asi vanhu vafa vari kuita 329,000, kupfuura 329,000. Saka chirwere ichi chiri pakaipa. Hazvisi kubatsira kuti iko zvinezvi pakutaurwa zvezvimwe zvakubuda naparutivi, asi zviri zvinhu zvakangobatana nechirwere checoronavirus. Saka ndiyo nyaya toda kuti titarise iyoyo kuti tinozvifambisa sei zvatajaira makore ose kana ari Christmas, kuti tinozvifambisa sei tabatwa mbira dzakondo nechirwere ichi. Julia.
Yeah, tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, as we said, we're talking about COVID-19 and Christmas holidays. And according to the Ministry of Health, there are over 12,000 people who have contracted COVID-19 since March this year in Zimbabwe. And out of this number, 10,314 have recovered and 339 have actually died. And worldwide, according to Johns Hopkins University, there are over 80 million cases and 1.7 million people have died. In USA, it seems as if USA has got the largest number of people with COVID-19. There are almost 19 million people that have contracted COVID-19. And out of this number, 329,124 have actually died. So let's not forget that today is Christmas Day as well. I hope you are enjoying yourselves, but we know that COVID-19 is causing havoc. So Zulanda siyabona ukuthi lamhlanje lusuku lwekhisimusi lithazela usuku lolu nesikhathi kule COVID-19 siyabona ukuthi sibili iphambanisa abantu abaningi kakhulu emhlabeni wonke jikelele. Khanya sibili kulohlupho lokuthi abantu bayafa, abanye lokho beyithola iCovid-19 lezinto ezinjalo. Kodwa siyathaba ukuthi-ke labantu babebuya khonapha kuhlelo sikhuluma labo nge-COVID-19 abayi-12,786 kwele Zimbabwe sebabanjwa umkhuhlane lo. Bese kusithi 10,314 sebaphepha ku-COVID-19, 339 sebabhubha. Emhlabeni wonke jikelele i-Johns Hopkins University ithi sokulabantu bedlula 80 million sebebanjwe i-COVID-19, abayi-1.7 million sebabhubha. KuleMelika sokulabantu 19 million, bese kusithi-ke 329,124 sebabhubha. So-ke kweleMelika lapha kukhanya umkhuhlane lo yamemetheka okunye okumangalisayo. Yeah, before we invite our guests, Tanonoka Wande, we've got some people who sent us audios, concerning Christmas. Let's listen to some of the audios and hear what people are saying about Christmas. There we go.
Yes, salibonani basakazi abahle lenjani. Mina ngiyaphila ngikhuluma lo ngwenya lapha eGoli eSandton la engisebenzela khona. Hey, kunzima man. Hayi impilo enzima, siyafisa lokuya emakhaya. Kodwa hayi kuyala, kodwa ke hayi abanye baphumelela bahamba. Silethemba ukuthi lathi ngelindanga kuzaze kulunge. Siyofika emakhaya siyebona abazali lezihlobo. Hawu. Kade sagcina kuba sekhaya nje kuyiChristmas sihlangane. Kuba nzima man. Lo mkhuhlane lo la ohlaseleyo lo ngoba nakho manje la eSouth Africa futhi usuqala phansi sokusiba nzima kakhulu. Asazi ukuthi kuyophetha ngani kodwa uNkulunkulu emuhle silethemba ukuthi uzosiphephisa. Mina ngiyabingelela abazali bami ezweni lokuzalwa le elipane, umama ongizalayo uNasuku nobaba nabafowethu bonke abakulana indawo leya, ngithi abaphile ngegama lenkosi. uNkulunkulu mayevuma ngelinye ilanga sizohlangana. Ngiyabonga kakhulu nani liphile lapho sihlangane singabaphilileyo. Ngiphinde futhi ngibingelele imuli yami ngoba nami senginemuli. Ingane zami uLindiwe, siyabonga umnqobi nomamazi umama kaLindiwe elipane. Ngithi abaphile ngegama lenkosi. Ngelinye lamalanga hayi sobonana mayinkosi ivuma. Ngoba phela konke kuhlelwa ngumdali.
Salibonani mahlabezulu, salibonani mthokazi womnyama, salibingelela abantu bonke, abantu baseZimbabwe lonke salibingelela, silikhulumise ngezindawo kwelilanga lekhisimusi. Namhlanje sithi abantu abadlala ikhisimusi kahle, bedlala ikhisimusi kahle, belandela imigomo lemibandela abayinikwa ngopresidenti babo emazweni. Siyacela, yabulala icorona, yabulala lo mkhuhlane. Siyacela beziphathe kahle abantu, nekujabuleni bejabule kahle, bedlale kahle.
Ngizathanda lami ukuthi ngazise kakhulu izizalwane kakhulu ezithatha uhambo okanye ngithi esehambeni eziya emakhaya eZimbabwe. Njengoba sizwa kuthiwa kunesiminyeminya khona ngale border, and then sekunabantu about 15 asebethe balahlekelwa imiphefumulo yabo. Lusizo olukhulu kakhulu lo sikhala nezihlobo zalabo bantu, ngoba mangithatha ukubheka bakithi umonakalo uya ngokuya ulokhu ukhula, ulokhu sanda phela umonakalo. Enginethemba ngizwa kuthiwa khona kunamalayini khona ngale eborder, i-queue zakhona zinde impela, okunye okudida uhlanya. Ongakuthi mangithatha ukubheka angiboni ukuthi khona ikhonokho i-social distancing khona lapho.
Happy basakazi be-Studio 7, ngiyalihalalisela ku-2020 noma u-2020 engazange asiphathe kahle sonke umhlaba wonke jikelele, kodwa ngithi hayi, asiphileni, siqhubekeleni phambili mayinkosi sasigcinile.
So these are some of the people, one day, they are saying a lot of things here, ranging from COVID-19, borders, that are where people are facing problems, especially in Berbridge. People are saying it's difficult to cross there. So so we are happy that people are sending us messages. Over to you.
Yes. You can tell from what they are saying that the people are really under a lot of strain.
Mm-hmm.
They are not free. Apart from the economic problems that they are facing, they now also have to deal with the COVID-19, which is extremely antisocial. There is very little they can do without putting themselves in danger. So we've got a double-barreled situation here, and people have very, very, very little room to maneuver. That's very unfortunate.
Yes, we also have some people who sent us some shorter messages. Let's listen to what they're saying.
Ndinoda kutenda nokuda kemabiko ekisimusi atapinda tichichengetwa naMwari, tichichengetwa nedenga panguva ino yemabiko ekisimusi, tichitenda Mwari nebavachishisa kubva muna January to December. Hazvina kuva nyore zvaitwa nenyasha dzavo Mwari. Saka ndova toda kutenda ndichikwazisa hama dzose dziri muZimbabwe dzandoda kubata vasekuru aparafeni vari kumacheke. Ndoda kukwazisa mbuya vangu, mbuya Amutsengwa vari kwaMutare kwaOdzi. Ndichikwazisawo zvakare mukoma wangu anonzi baba vaLibati vari kuZimbabwe, vari kwaMutare kwaOdzi vanonzi mukoma Lama. Ndichikwazisa yose mhuri yeZimbabwe, ndichiishuwira ndichiti muwe nekisimusi yakanaka. muve nekisimusi yakanaka. Ndichikwazisawo baba vangu vanondibereka, ndichivashuwirawo kisimusi yakanaka, vanoonekwa vari kuMozambique vanonzi baba vachikumbeza, ndichivashira pamwe chete namai nehama dzose, pamwe chete nemhuri yangu nemudzimai wangu nemwana anonzi Salvador. Tinovashuwira kisimusi yakanaka, tichiti Mwari wekudenga vatichengeta tasviswa nenyaya dzavo. Muve nekisimusi yakanaka. Ndatenda hangu.
Maliko pastudio 7 apo. Ini zvangu zangu kuti happy Christmas kuna muchemberi wangu patengapo. Tichiti musawara, next time ndouyapo. Gore rino ndafona wauya nenyaya yecorona. But nekufamba kwenguva ndouyawo mama, musawara. Tichiti kwazukuru vangu vanasi Selina naNyasha, nditi muri sei? Happy.
Makadiko mose vanoshanda pastudio 7 vari kuWashington DC kuAmerica uko. Ini ndinoitwa Stembeni Kundani, ndiri kuSouth Africa kuDurban. Ndinokwazisawo mhuri yangu yose paholiday ino. Yokwazisa Fiona vashoma, Trimo vashoma, Watimo vashoma, Sarudzai vashoma. Yozokwazisa Maka vashoma ari kuPitori. Ndokwazisa mhuri yose kwaKundani iri muHarare, nemhuri yose kwaMudekunye kwaZimuto. Yozokwazisa mhuri yose kwaMujenjema, vanasekuru vangu nanambuya vangu. Ndinoti makadiko kwacharumbira. Ndopedzisira nokukwazisa vose vanondiziva, ndoti makadiko musafarisa paholiday ino. Ilai Christmas zvakanaka. Tatadza kuuya kumushana yecorona, asi tichasangana zvedu. Ndikokwazisa vana vangu vose, vana vatete vangu vanoti Ana, Luisi, vose ndinovakwazisa nditi makadiko.
Tokwasirai pazuva ranhasi tinoti makadii. Ini ndoitwa mai Maria, mai Moyo kuSouth Africa. Ndoda kukwazisa mai vangu vanondizvara, ndokwazisa ana vamwene vangu, mai Murega namai Zaka. Ndinovakwazisa ndoti muve nekrisimasi rakanaka. Maria, Krishano, Energy, Kero, nevamwe vose, baba vaMurega, Elda Muregapo. Makadii kuSangwe? Munofara here? Tinoti muve nezuva rakanaka rekisimusi, chero tisina zvedu kukwanisa kuuya, asi ivai nezuva rakanaka rekisimusi negore dzva. Mwari akuitirei zvakanaka ukoko, nevamwe vose vari muno muSouth Africa, ndingavapedzi nemazita. Ndinongoti hama neshamwari mose kuno tinofara zvikuru. Ivai nekisimusi negore dzva zvakanaka. Muchenjere zvirwere, musanitaize nemamaski. Muise mamaski kunyangwe muchifara muzuva rekrisimasi. Isai mamaski nekusanitaiza, nokuti chirwere chiri kuuraya. Tinotenda. Ndii mai Maria, mai Cristiano, mai W Komeli kuno kuSouth Africa, kwamafunzwa uko. Gore dzva nekisimusi.
There you are, Talanoka. A lot being said here. Yes.
Exactly. You notice, you hear the optimism though.
Yes.
In spite of everything. I mean, this is one thing, this is one trait about the Zimbabweans that I have always admired. It doesn't matter where you go. There's always this sense of optimism in spite of all the difficulties they are facing. And that is very, very, very unique, if I might say.
We're happy that we are joined by one of our guests, and that is Reverend Hussein Sibanda. Reverend Hussein Sibanda, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you so much, Gibbs and Jonga. I'm very much excited to be here with you.
Yes, he's Talanoka one day. So
oh, Talanoka, oh, sorry, Talanoka, yes. Hi, Talanoka, how are you?
No, I'm fine.
Thank you, I'm
How are you, sir?
Yes, it's Christmas. It's Christmas Day today. What's your message, and what are people doing in Bulawayo?
Well, we have a lot of family gatherings. Most people are meeting in small groups as families, less traveling. In the morning, of course, it was busy. Some people doing last minute shopping. I was there in town in the morning. Most of the shops were still open, except the big ones. But people could get basics that they needed from the shops, and they were preparing, a lot of them buying meat, buying drinks, and like what you guys were saying, people are in a very difficult situation, but very optimistic. But however, I want to point out that that's not the big population. A lot of people are at home, most of them without food, without money, because 2020 has been very difficult. The jobs, most people have lost their jobs. Most people, in terms of getting basics, they are struggling. Yesterday, we were to take food to some families that we know, about 4 families that I had to take food to so that they could also have a good Christmas. So the situation is not as easy as it looks, but people are very optimistic. A lot of them have traveled again to the rural areas, where it's a bit much more easier and cheaper for people to, to have a Christmas and a holiday.
Yes, go ahead, Tanonoka. Sorry, I think your mic was muted a little bit. Just hold on. Let's see. Yes, quiet now. Quiet.
Right. I was saying that you mentioned that the larger population, the larger number of people are out in the rural areas. Given our tradition of always celebrating, whether it's a death, whether it's a wedding, we feel more comfortable expressing our feelings when we are gathered. And this is going to be a very trying time, considering the pandemic that is actually telling us to stay apart. What have you noticed uh, in town? Okay, we can understand that in towns people are always gathered together anyway in a smaller place. What have you noticed? What is the attitude of the people in town who are used to being together, drinking together, doing things together, unlike people in the rural areas who have a choice whether to mix, to mingle, or not to mingle? In towns, it's totally different. What have you noticed, Reverend?
I think this time it's a muted Christmas, I would say. By this time, I went to Luveve. I drove to Luveve from town, which means I passed through most of the suburbs. You really don't have that, loud noise, loud music. It's there, but it's muted. It's not as what it used to be. In the towns, the streets will be full of people drinking, rejoicing. It's not there. It's just scattered here and there. Mostly because the economy does not allow them. Besides the COVID situation, people don't have the money to do that anymore. As Gibbs will tell you here in Bulawayo, people will be having radios outside, Love Mama Jaivana, Soul Brothers, what. It's not there anymore. Simply because there is no money. But secondly, also, the number of people from South Africa is greatly reduced. We should be having lots of people from South Africa. I mean, it's greatly, I would say maybe only having a tenth, if not less. So it's more of Omalaicha, some of them coming through. South African registered cars are very few, are not as much as what one would expect. Even the people from South Africa diaspora are very limited, which in a sense, ironically, maybe it's a bit better. But our biggest fear is if these people come back, most of them are coming through illegal. And also, as you know, South Africa being South Africa, even the testing, fake certificates of testing and so forth. So the chances of taking COVID from that side and bringing it here, it's very high. But also the danger we have now is people who left the urban area going to the rural could also transmit COVID-19. But I'll say, coming back to your question, it's quite a muted Christmas. We don't have the usual large celebrations that we had. Maybe 2-3 years ago, we had very huge celebrations. 2 years ago, but now, 2017, we had very big celebrations all over. But now there's nothing, to be honest.
And one day we've got Reverend Mtombeni as well. Raphael Mtombeni is always featuring in our Sunday shows. Welcome to the program, Reverend Mtombeni.
Hello.
So tell us a bit about Christmas down there in Texas. What's going on there?
It basically is almost the same with what Reverend Sbanda is referring to in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. The Christmas is kind of like quiet. It's not there is not much activity that we usually know. What I can tell you is that in my place here where we live, I live just outside town, which is a few kilometers outside town, and it's a norm that most families would come out of town and be with us over here at Christmas by this time. So we say it's no, not this time, not this time. We are keeping to ourselves. So that's the difference that we see, which is right to do, because we don't want to mix and mingle with people that we are not very familiar with. So it is small. I don't know about other cultures and other people around, but for this African diaspora, we decided not to converge and meet and be like we used to do.
Yeah.
In a gold today, but we said no, let us postpone it to maybe next year or the year other, we don't know.
Yes,
yeah, lapha eTexas lakho phose kuyafana nalokho esikuzwayo ngomfundisi uSibando ukuthi kuncinyane kuthule akula kuphithizela njengalokho esikwejayele. Asithi thina sihlezi nje ngaphandle kwedolobho Mbijana, kwandile ukuthi amakhisimusi wonke abantu baphume edolobheni befuna ukubuya lapha ngoba singathi nje eplazini kancane lapho esihlala khona. Kuba mnandi nxa kuyisona esisikhathi ukuthi abantu ngabe bagcwala phandle lapha, sihlinze imbuzi sisoseza ngaphakathi. Kodwa ke hayi lo nyaka no sivumelene njenge-community ukuthi khona hayi lo madoda kahlale emzini wakhe labantu bakhe. So kuncinyane sibili akulanto emangalisayo ephithizelayo ejayele ukuba khona.
Yes, siyakuzwa kakhulu baba umfundisi ubambe khonapho ngayikhatshana. So one day we've got Dr. Sibusiso Ranga. Welcome to the program, Dr. Ranga.
Hi, Gibbs. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Magadi, Dr. Ranga.
Takasimba, Mr. Wande. Magadi henyu.
Munoshanda pa Christmas.
Hakuna zororo kuno North Carolina. Because chipatara zvakazara zviri kuda machiremba nemanesi vakuita vashoma.
Chii chamungatitaurira Dr. Ranga pamusoro pemamiriro akaita zvinhu nenyaya yeCovid-19 uye chii chamuri kuona kuvanhu vanouya kuchipatara ikoko nyangwe vasiri zvavo veCovid-19? Pane mutsauko wamuri kuona, mutsauko wacho ndoupi?
Chandiri kuona nhasi muno muchipatara, it's business as usual. Zvanga zviri kutaurwa nevamwe kuti it's kind of a muted celebration, ndo zvatiri kuona kuno kuCharlotte, North Carolina. Vanhu vari muchipatara and hama dzinokwanisa kuuya kuzovhakacha, but munhu 1 per day, and vanhu vazhinji varwere vakatongomirira kuti vabude muzvipatara because otherwise hapana celebration yakanyanya iri kuitika because vanhu vari kufunga covid, vari kufunga kuti havasi kukwanisa kusangana semhuri. And it's just one of those unique Christmas celebrations. So muzvipatara usually vanenge vachipa chikafu kuvashandi and so forth, a lot of celebratory mood. We are not seeing a lot of that this year.
So looking at how things are going, do you think people are going to have a good Christmas this year?
I think this is one of those Christmases which will be very memorable because people stayed away from each other for a good reason. This is probably the one Christmas where people feel some kind of, they don't feel bad for not being with their loved ones. So usually we would find that on Christmas Day, a lot of people are off work. They come to visit the sick in the hospital. They'll be filling up the room. That's not happening this year. So Christmas is going to be a good Christmas for a lot of people in the fact that, we are alive, we have good health. But there are a lot of people who have lost loved ones because of COVID-19. And also, dying from other diseases. So this is a very, very unique Christmas that we are hoping is not going to be repeated next year, since we now have the vaccine and people are getting vaccinated.
Thank you so much, and hold on there, Dr. Ranga. We also have Reverend Kenneth Mutata, who is in Harare. Welcome to the program, Reverend.
Thank you very much, Gibbs, and Merry Christmas to you guys. And we hope you manage to celebrate even though you are busy.
Yes, so we are at work right now, and I know my friend Tananuka one day wants to go outside and play, but he can't because of COVID. One day, go ahead.
Ndikudapenda pana Reverend apo, I can see my trees ndabva ndafunga kumva manje. Hakuna jewa here dziri kufamba pamusoro penyu.
Dziri kufamba ndatoona patanga chipfuura apo chero macimbi ariko.
Veduwe musadaro. Reverend Mutata, chii chamuri kuona kumusha?
I think mataurigwa ari kuitwa nevamwe ndiwawo ekuti ino yanga iri Christmas iri subdued. But ndanga ndiri kumberengwa nhasi ndaona vamwe vanga vachicelebrata vachienda pamatownships vachienda kunoCelebrata. It's surprising. No mask, no social distancing. Makombi ari kubva kunana West Nicholson achienda kunana Masase. They are pegged but on my way I came across a group of women who are picking macimbi in the forest. For them, this is more important. They are looking for how they prepare for their livelihoods. Come 2021, 2020 for them is gone. It looks like they are not putting so much attention to Christmas here. Gorerino one day.
Yeah, one day.
In the sorry, Gibbs.
Yeah, siyabona ukuthi udlula abantu begola amacimbi. Akusitshela kancane ngakhonokho. Ngosuku lweKhisimusi akujayelekanga ukuthi abantu bagola amacimbi.
Yes, nami ngimangele kodwa ngibona ngabantu abathi iChristmas izodliwa njani uma kungekho ukudla. Kungcono silungisele impilo yakusasa. So ngibuzile ukuthi manje lizoyenza njani lamacimbi lawo bathi hayi sizowathengisa 450 rand a bucket silungisele imali yama school fees ye next year. So sebelungisela u2021 ngoba u2020 vele sephelile asoze asizakale.
Yes, cela ufake ngesihlona khona ukukhuluma ngakho.
Ndiri kutaura kuti madzimai andaona anga achinunga madora aya ari kutaridza kuti kwavari 2020 gore raenda richagona kubatsirika, saka chero kupemberera Christmas hachisi chinhu chakakosha. Vari kununga zvavo madora kuitira kuti kana vakamatengesa vanogadzirira maschool fees evana chikoro chichivhuriwa kutanga kwegore iri Gibbs.
One day.
Motichengetera gukoko ramatwimbika
zvakanaka. Alo Reverend Sibanda, Hussein Sibanda, muve neChristmas yakanaka.
Siyabonga mfundisi, thank you so much. Lama macimbi niyafuna.
Okay.
Yes, so before you go, Reverend Mtata, before you go, so just give us a word, today's word is Christmas Day.
I think the Christmas means a lot if we take seriously the story of the person who is born on this day we celebrate. Our Lord Jesus Christ is born in a very precarious condition. His life was in danger. His parents had to flee to go to Africa to find protection. And I think it makes a lot of sense if we celebrate Christmas not only as something that is a moment to demonstrate or to show that we are wealthy, we have food, we have everything, but when we also remember the vulnerability that comes with Christmas. And I think we are seeing many people demonstrating or living this vulnerability this Christmas, not only because of COVID-19, but because many people cannot afford. I'm surprised to see that people are even struggling just to find bread to have Christmas because they cannot afford it. You find bread in the shops, but there are many people who could not afford to have bread this Christmas. I think this is a true reflection of the man who is born on this day we celebrate, but also it's a sign of hope for us because it was from this struggle that we got our salvation. And we hope that this struggle will not be in vain for most of these people. One day their life is going to be translated into joy.
Yes, one day, maybe you can say his last word before going. One day, go ahead, sir.
No, ndakachita kuti zvatambotaura tichitangidza program yekuti vanhu vane shungu dzokuramba vachienda mberi kunyangwe pakaita zvapo matambudziko akadini. Ndichiti ndo chimwe chinhu chandinofarira chose pavanhu vemuzimbabwe kuti havaregi matambudziko zvichivakakatira sure. Sisi kutaura kwamaita kuti gore rino nyangwe mufundisi Sibanda vataura zvimwe chete izvozvo kuti gore rino zvinhu zvakasiyana pamusoro pemusengwa wechirwere chiripo ichi uyezve pamusoro pekuti vanhu havana mari, matambudziko eikonomi. Kana makatarisa kwatiri kuenda uku munofunga kuti zvichaita nani here sokuona kwenyu kuti shungu dzavanhu dzokuramba vachienda mberi dzingadzika here kana zvikanonoka kugadzirika?
Vawande, I think nyaya iripo ndeyekuti kana uri mukristu chimwe chezvinhu chakakosha kuramba une tariro. Saka ndinofunga kuti vakristu vakawanda vari muZimbabwe vane tariro yekuti zvinhu zvichanaka. Uyezve tikaramba tichishanda mibato yatiri kuita yezvino yekukurudzira kuti vanhu vasaora mwoyo, vanhu varambe vane tariro uyezve vachibata kuti tariro iyo igozadziswa, tinovimba kuti zvinhu zvichanaka. Ndofunga 2021 anenge asingaremi se2020 sezvatanzwa chiremba vachitaura kuti kwava nemishonga yekuti COVID ingadzira, asiwo nenyaya yekuti vanhu vakawanda vachatsvaka nzira dzokuti tipedze madambudziko ari kuramba achiremera vanhu vekwedu. Tinovimba kuti 2021 achava kuri nani, asi kana zvisizvo tinoramba takatsunga tichienda kumberi tichitsvaga masolutions anopedza dambudziko redu.
Thank you very much, Reverend Mtata. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much for having me. Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you so much.
Reverend Mtata.
Bye-bye. So now coming to you, Reverend Hussein Sibanda. So looking at how things are going, do you think things will come right in Zimbabwe and people may have a better Christmas next time?
Yeah, well, I think the main agent for change are the people of Zimbabwe themselves. yes, as Christians, we have faith, we've got hope that things will change, but it will take the people of Zimbabwe working through that change for themselves, working through that hope to get a better future. We have the ingredients that can give us that. First of all, in 2013, we had a new constitution. We need to campaign for a full implementation of our constitution. If the constitution of Zimbabwe is implemented properly as it is, I believe it will bring prosperity. We have to continue to hold government to account. We have to continue to demand accountability. We have to deal with corruption. All these things are very important in order for us to have a better life tomorrow. Now, we cannot just pray for it. We cannot just hope and sit there. We have to work towards it. It's taken many years. It's taken many people from the liberation struggle up to now. Many people died hoping for a better Zimbabwe. And now this is how many years? 40 years later. We are still hoping, praying about hoping. So I think it will take us to push for that. And one of the things I wanted to say is I'm grateful to spaces like Studio 7, which continue to give, that space for Zimbabweans to express themselves. It's very important. You won't believe it. Studio 7, brings so much relief spaces for people to communicate. I heard the messages that people were sending through. So we also want to congratulate you guys and wish that you continue doing the good work that you are doing. It's part of taking us to where we want to go.
Thank you very much. Ubusifaka ngesintu ungahambi uthe uqeda ungena khonapho kwesikhathi esifitshane. So ke akwethulela abantu ilizwi likaNkulunkulu lamhla eKhisimusi.
Yes, siyabonga kakhulu. Ithemba ilizwi likaNkulunkulu vele lona likhuluma ngokuthemba ngaso sonke isikhathi. Kodwa thina njengamaZimbabweans kumele sinanzelele ukuthi uNkulunkulu wathi ekhululi abantu bakhe eGibhite wasebenzisa uMose, usebenzisa thina abantu. So kumele thina abantu sithandaze, sibe lethemba, kodwa sisebenze ukwenzela ukuthi sithole iZimbabwe eyabe isilenguquko, iZimbabwe engcono. Silesisekelo sombuso, singaqalisa khona phana ukuthi kasilandele. Kumele njalo i-corruption, izinto njenge-corruption ziphele. Njalo ke kuyadingakala kakhulu ukuthi laba abasikhokhelayo we hold them to account. Kumbe kungabe kunguchief wakho, kumbe ukansila, kumbe uMP, kababe held to account even esigabeni ezihlukeneyo. So kuqakathekile lokhu kwenzela ukuthi iZimbabwe yethu esayilwelayo silwela impi yenkululeko kuze kube namhlanje ibe khona.
Yes, siyamuzwa umfundisi lapha mbonazane ke.
Njalo siyabonga o-Studio 7 liqhubekele phambili.
Qhubeka mfundisi.
Siyalibonga kakhulu. Siyabonga kakhulu labo Studio 7 umsebenzeli wenzayo, silifisela inhlanhla lokuthi liqhubekele ku-2021, liqhubekele lisinike isikhala sona njengamaZimbabweans ukuthi sikhulume, sizwisisaneni, sithandazele iZimbabwe engcono.
Siyabonga kakhulu ke mfundisi. Ukholisa iKhisimusi khonapho ngiyakwazi ukuthi kade wosimbuzi. So ukholise khona.
Ayimnandi imbuzi. So simbuzi sosa izinto eziningi lenyama ngamahoso kuphela.
Yes, ngibongile mfundisi.
Inkosi ibusisi. Bye bye.
So we still have Reverend Mtombeni. Wande, go ahead, sir.
Reverend, tikutaura nenyaya ye-COVID-19. We are talking about the COVID issue. How much has this affected your immediate community of worshippers? When you compare this to other times, how are you progressing in spreading the word or preaching to your people during this time? Like we were saying earlier, that the Zimbabweans usually want to gather to express their feelings, whether it's sorrowful or whether it's a happy occasion. How are you handling this? What is happening?
Well, lucky enough, in my area where I am in Dallas, we haven't lost any Zimbabwean that I know, but we have some who have been attacked by this pandemic, I mean, this COVID-19. They fought through it, and some are fighting through it even now. So it is something that is real. That's one thing that people should know. And we feel like the second wave came even harder than the first wave. The first wave, it came in, but we were more timid than the second wave. But the second wave has more casualties than the first wave, as far as I'm concerned.
Shouldn't
So
it have been the other way around? We should have learned from the first wave that this thing is. It's quite interesting. Maybe that is up to Dr. Raga to explain. But what you are saying, I think is very, very valid and it's quite obvious. We've seen that, we've heard about it, and they are still talking about it as of now. It's just a funny situation.
it is because if you look at the first wave, most people were very conscious. There was sanitizing, this spreading of places and stuff like that. But on the second wave, it's like people are used to it. It's like they are, people sometimes they are a little more conscious.
That's a very dangerous development.
Exactly, that's what I see. So maybe doctor can tell us more about that. But what I see around us is exactly that. So what we tell people is that please let us mask, mask, and we try to do that. There is a great improvement in the areas of masks in Texas, because initially on the first wave there was a certain group of people who didn't mask at all. For example, at my work, one person comes to me and say, "Why are you putting this on?" And then I said, "I'm putting it on to protect you and protect myself." What that person was communicating to me was, "Why do you put a mask here? We don't need masks here." That kind of attitude. And then but this time around, it looks like even in shops, in stores, in big stores and around, there are more people that you see with masks than before. Maybe they are late. I don't know.
Thank you for that, Reverend Tombeni. Just hold on, don't go away. So we still have Dr. Ranga. So maybe Dr. Ranga can explain some of these things. Go ahead, Doctor.
Oh, thank you, Gibbs. I couldn't put it better than what Reverend Tomben is saying. What's happening is that, yes, a lot of people are dying quietly. And as Reverend Tomben is saying, people kind of are getting used to a very dangerous thing. So I can give an example of what happened with HIV/AIDS. When it started, everyone in the world was very alert. People did what they needed to do, like here in America, in the United Kingdom. But unfortunately, our people in Zimbabwe, sub-Saharan Africa, life continued as usual. A lot of times because people were skeptical, they were not sure, they didn't have the correct information. And meanwhile, the disease was spreading in those communities. So the same concept is happening now with COVID-19. So when it started, obviously the heavily congested areas like New York City, they got hit very hard. But sparsely populated states like southern states, Midwestern states, they kind of survived the first wave. However, with COVID or any of these communicable diseases, it's like everyone is in a hot balloon, with steam. So, the water starts on one end of the balloon, and as long as you supply heat, everyone can, eventually get affected. So that's why we see now in Texas, we see in places like North Dakota, Utah, and so forth, that California, which survived the first wave pretty well. Now that people could move around when we opened up the economy, thinking that, whether we did it because we thought we just couldn't wait, or we thought we had things under control. We opened up the economy, but some people were not observing the basic things that we have been talking about the whole time. Social distancing, face masks, avoiding crowds, basic hygiene, quarantining, things like that. So since we opened up the whole country in the United States here, what it meant was the disease could spread much faster throughout the country, particularly in congested areas. And I think California, they have passed the 2 million mark now in terms of number of infections, and they have almost run out of intensive care unit beds because it's just this bad. The good part is that we now know much more about the disease in terms of treatment that can help, and what we can do to prevent it. And now we have the vaccine, which is, in my opinion, our best hope. But until everyone gets vaccinated, we still need to practice those basic things like hand hygiene, social distancing, face masks, and the like. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One day we've got some message from one of the singers who is based in Germany, but right now she is in Zimbabwe, and that is Noma Tamsanga Nkwali Mkwananzi. She's got a message for us. Let's listen to what she's saying.
Nyaola milolo, nyaola milolo, nyaola milolo lekanyana. Sanibonani, sanibonani. Umhlaba wonke jikelele, ngabe use-America, ngabe use-eCanada, ngabe use-Germany, kumbe ngaphi. Yimi owenu uNkwali. Ngithi kini Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Siphile esikhathini esinzima kakhulu, silahlekelwe izihlobo nabangani. Kodwa singalahleni ithemba, sigeze izandla, sikhumbule ukugqoka ama-mask ngaso sonke isikhathi. Sikhumbule ukuthi uNkulunkulu ukhona njalo uyasithanda. Singaphongi ukuthi isikhala lesithi hayi impilo sifike ekucineni, kodwa hayi sibe lethemba, sivikele ugogo, sivikele ukhulu, sivikele izihlobo zethu ezilethukela namanye imikhuhlane eminye enzima ukuthi nxa bengabanjwa umkhuhlane we-COVID-19 wehlule ukukontroleka. Kodwa kade singithi kini asibende ikhisimusi enhle, sinathe lathi sinanzelela, sidrayive kuhle emgwaqweni. Ngithi kini ngiyalithanda, ngithanda kakhulu. Ngithi khona ichanga ingoma yami entsha ethi sithanda sami, sithanda sami. I-password yakho uyamnika yini umkakho? Umkakho uyawunika yini i-password yakho? Sithanda sami, selizela fikilanga, mina lawe sihlanganise, sibe moya munye, sibe moya munye. I-password yami ngeyakho, eyakho njalo ngeyami. Merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
She's provoking a situation here one day. She's got a new album, Timber.
She has a very lovely voice.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
She's one person who has been singing throughout her life. She started her career with IASA, Inkululeko Yabatsha School of Arts. So she's really doing well. So now let's go to the other issue. The messages that we're getting from people. We've got a set of them now. Let's listen to what some other people are saying about Christmas. Here we go.
igama lami umncedisi Ndlovu mphuma lapha nicholocho esigabeni sakonshaba. Thande ukubingelela umama ongizalayo uNabonita, lemuli yami, unkosikazi wami uMachuma, Faith Ndlovu, Proud Ndlovu, Princess Ndlovu, Philisani Moyo. Ngiyalibingelela lonke ekhaya, ngithi libe losuku oluhle namhlanje, libe leChristmas enhle.
Happy Khisimusi nomnyaka omutsha kini nonke ihlobo kumagumbi amane omhlaba. silifisele impilo ezinhle thanda hlobo zami khona ngabalava edaluka egohole siyabonga Moveni Ngwenya edaluka. Sanibonani ku-studio 7 ubaba uMpofu lo okhulumayo Isaac Jiji. Ngifisela umhlaba wonke abantu uChristmas omuhle no-New Year omuhle, mhlawumbe umnyaka ozayo siphile ngcono kunalo obusihlupa kangaka ngomoya lo owe-COVID. Ngibe sengifisela i-Afrika yonke ilizwe lakithi umhlaba wakithi omuhle esawuphiwa uNkulunkulu ophethe yonke into zonke mali izifuna zikhona e-Afrika. Ngibe sengifisela lelizwe lakithi laseZimbabwe ungani uNkulunkulu engaze lingenele libe right, labantu abadla iChristmas khona eZimbabwe bayidle kahle ngomoya ingcwele. Ngibe sengicina ke ngabafowethu lesigaba sakithi sakoMadabe, abafowethu bonke abantu bakoMpofu labakomalumama bakoNcube, ungani uNkulunkulu engabasiza. Amen.
Makadini mhuri yeZimbabwe, ndinonzi Patience Magara apa. Ndiri kwazisawo mujara wangu Pelani Magaraba, ndichikwazisa mhuri yese kwaMagaraba, ndichikwazisa futi mhuri yekwa kuboli Mukecheng kwaMurei uko David Murei ndisekuru vangu, ndichikwazisa futi Elemenziana Makuva ari kwaMurei wako nemhuri yese kwaMakuva, ndichikwazisa futi Eria Manyaira ndiatezvara vangu nemhuri yese kwaManyaira, naTamira naShetaropafadzwa Manyaira ndo mhuri yangu. Ndinovashuvira Christmas yakanaka, New Year yakanaka, ndinoti pindai mugore ita zvakanaka. Ndinotenda hangu.
Pastudio 7 muri sei pabhodha beti bridge makwikwi laini racho ma1 2 days 3 days iripo pakaipa rikutangira Mesina pachena sita dziri kuuya basa richipisa, mvura yacho apa isi kutobatika zvekudaro. Zvinhu zvacho Krismasi gore rinoi yakati omei, kuenda musha kwacho itori hondo chaiko. Mazuva acho ekisimusi kutokwana munhu uri murodhi wakabva nenguva. Vanhu vacho hamene zvavari kuita nemasertificate ecovid awa anenge ari wakukwadzisa problem ekuti zvakasunga pakaipa hamene pakudzoka apa kuti zvange zvakamira sei. Ndini sasinje paJoburg paRandfontein apo.
Makadini paRadio Zimbabwe apo wana mukoma Jonga nana mukoma Blessing Zulu, makadii zvenyu haisi kudakara. Tiri kutaura totaura kudai tiri paCape Town apo. Ndinofarisa hama dzangu wana mai wangu wari kwachecheche uko kwari Maintambu, ndichiti muve neChristmas rakanaka, Mwari amukomborere. Ndichifarisa wakoma wangu kubvira kunata kuobey vision praise mnin'ina best choice na honest. Ndinoti Mwari wakuitirei nyasha, muve neChristmas rakanaka mangwana. Ndichindobatazve kwababa munini wangu uko, ndichindoti vese vana mainini wangu nemhuri yavo vaitirwe zvakanaka naMwari. Ndatenda zvangu ndisingakanganwi pachechechapo.
Vashamarari vose vestudio 7 ndiri noitwa vamugarire, ndiri kuno kuwedza. Ndinoshuvira kuti muve negoredzva rakanaka nehamo dzangu dzose dzekwamugariri, vakoma, vana vevana vevakoma, vana vangu nevana vevanasikana, vazukuru vose. Ndinovati muve negoredzva nenyuwe yakanaka, muve nezuva rakanaka imi vashamarari vestudio 7.
Yeah, there you are one day. It sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds very, very good. And like we mentioned earlier, their spirits are not dampened. People just want to move forward. So it's very uplifting to find this kind of attitude in people. But what is striking though is the people in the diaspora, in this case, like in South Africa, you can see how attached they are to their home country. And they always wish for the best. In spite of everything, they always wish for the very, very best, and they don't seem to get tired of good expectations.
Yes, you are right. But
Yeah.
So we've got a bit of music before we go to our guests. Let's play a bit of music from Victor Dube and his wife, Normal Dube. There we go. Monday.
Is he a brother?
There you are, Tanunuka. I think wonderful music, right?
Wonderful music.
So
wonderful music. Do you know if they have cut an album?
Not really. They're always featuring in our program on Sundays. They are really, really wonderful people.
They are very good.
And Reverend Tomben is always there too. And let's give these two gentlemen their last words. 30 seconds each. Reverend Tombeni, your last word concerning Christmas. 30 seconds.
Yes, I think it's true that Christmas is in 2020 is different, and we should accept it. And please, if it is possible, the families should keep to themselves rather than trying to, mingle and mix and have too many people, which might result in not good result at the end of the day. So I urge the public that they heed to what the doctors and the science is advising, rather than listening to everything that is around them. They should listen to what the advice is about their health. Let us mask our face mask all the time. All the time. I know the doctor, even when he's in the studio here, he can't resist masking. If the doctors were not masking like what he is doing, we could have lost all of them.
Yeah.
Because they are direct contact to these people who are sick. So the mask works. If it didn't work, we couldn't be having doctors and nurses and all these first responders moving around. So we should be careful and do the masking all the time. That's what advise people at this Christmas.
Thank you so much, Reverend Tombeni. Your last word, Dr. Ranga, less than 10 seconds.
Thank you, Gibbs, and thank you, Reverend Tombeni. You took the words out of my mouth. I am sharing some space here in one of the team break rooms, so I come across team members here and there. That's why I'm keeping my mask on. The message I have is to say Merry Christmas to everyone wherever you are, and always think COVID-19. So whether you are at a family gathering, whether you are traveling, whether you are in church, whatever you are doing today on Christmas Day, please remember COVID-19, practice COVID-19 safe behavior, face masks, social distancing, basic hygiene, quarantine if you are sick, and plan to get the vaccine as soon as it becomes available to you. Right now, we have 2 vaccines that have been approved here in the United States, one from Pfizer, the other one from Moderna. That is our ticket to a free life again. So until you get vaccinated, everyone gets vaccinated, keep on your face mask. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ranga. We wish to take this opportunity to thank our guests, Dr. Simiso Ranga in USA, Reverend Kenneth Mtata, who is in Zimbabwe, Reverend Hussein Sbanda, and Reverend Raphael Mtombeni. Signing off is Gibbs Kube in Maryland saying, have a lovely, lovely Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Over to you, Wande.
And I'm Taruno Kawande from Washington, D.C., wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Until we meet again, thank you so much.
Good night.
Good night.